Alright, hi, and welcome to my channel. My name is Casey, and today's reading I felt extremely drawn to because it's something that, I personally would want to watch if I was watching a YouTube tarot reading. Because this reading is going to be all about what reassurance do you need, or what do you need to hear right now to stop overthinking, to stop feeling anxious, to stop having your fears run rampant in your head. Because recently I've been dealing with a lot of those thoughts and having trouble getting over them. And this deck that I'm actually going to read from for you is the deck that I, got cards from for myself to help myself. And just connecting to spirit and reading what the cards had to say immediately made me feel so much better, so much more reassured. And if you have been feeling a little lost, or you're like, am I still in the right path, or there's just been fears plaguing your mind and you're not sure, is this something that I can get through, is this something that I can accomplish, I want this reading to be here for you to get that reassurance, to get the message from your guides to say, I see what you're going through and you are going to make it through this, you are going to be successful, you are still on the right path. Whatever assurance that you need to get yourself out of your head and back, putting one foot in front of the other, going towards your goals, having that connection to the universe and that inner knowing that you're still on the right path. That's what I'm hoping to give you today. And I know sometimes that can be a tall order, but sometimes all that we need is a message to really resonate with us and be reminded of oh my God, I am being watched over, I am being protected, I am being guided. Because sometimes it's easy to forget, our fears can get in our way, they can get in our heads, and that's what I'm going to try to do here today. So today I have 3 different readings for you to choose from. We have pile 1 with the dendritic agate, I think that's what it's called, pile 2 with the blue lace agate, and pile 3 with the tiger's eye. So go ahead and pause, figure out which reading you feel most drawn to. I'll leave timestamps down in the description box below so you can quickly jump to whichever reading that you want to listen to. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into it. Alright, pile 1, if you chose the dendritic agate, then this is the reading for you. And I just want to say off the bat, looking at your cards, this is, I was trying to talk about it a little bit in the beginning, how recently, the deck that I'm using to read for you today, I used for myself because I was going through something very similar to what you're going through, I see. And I was basically just having a lot of fear of am I still on the right path? Is this still something that I'm meant to do? And pulling the cards, like I said, it immediately made me feel so much better, so much more connected to my guides. And I see what you're going through looks very similar to what I was going through. So I'm saying all this to say, I'm going to be speaking a lot from my personal experience, but on a base level, it seems like what we're going through is the same thing. Because the way that I have this laid out here is we have on this side, what is this major fear? What is this thing causing you to overthink? What can you not get out of your head? What are you anxious about? And then on this side we have, what do you need to hear about this? And in the middle, I'm getting some advice that I'm going to read to you from the guidebook. And what I see, you have the Stop card and the 5 of Wands. I feel like you are on a path that is very guided by what you believe to be your purpose. It's something that you're very passionate about. It's something that you feel like this is what you're meant to do in this lifetime. And it's scary because it doesn't follow the traditional route of what everybody else does with their life. What you're doing strays away from that. And because of that, you have all this extra pressure on yourself, whether it's by others or by yourself, to essentially prove that, you can make this a reality. You can make this happen. But you have all these overthinking thoughts and fears in your mind that are telling you you should stop, you should give up, it's not going to work out for this reason and it hasn't happened yet, so you might as well give up. And you basically have all these blaring flashing lights telling you this is not your path. And I want to tell you that that is not a message from spirit. That is a message from your own ego, from your own fears. Because at a base level, I think our ego is just a primal part of us trying to protect us. And it doesn't always make itself clear that that's what it is. But when you have those blaring flashing lights in your head telling you you're not worthy, or you're not good enough, or you're not going to get it done in time, or you're not going to be able to accomplish this, it sounds terrible. But if you look at why is my brain doing this? Why would my ego be holding me back from this? It's because it's trying to hold you back from failure. If your brain thinks that there is even a small chance of failure, it is going to cling to that. And it's going to instill fear into you because it's so terrified of what might happen. You might get hurt, or you might get rejected or judged, or look at all these bad emotions that'll happen. Look at how you could get hurt if things failed. But what you need to remind yourself and your ego of is you don't need it to stop you. You're already on the path. You know that failure is an option, but you also know that success is an option. And you don't need that part of you to hold you back. You recognize that it's trying to help you. It's trying to hold you back from failure. It's trying to protect you. But you need to tell it like, I thank you for trying to help me, but I don't need you to do this anymore. I am perfectly capable of taking on the risks of, what if it might fail? But you need to also remind yourself, your brain doesn't know the full story. It doesn't know the future. It doesn't know that you're going to fail. And, even if you did fail or you hit a roadblock, are you still willing to pick yourself up and keep going? Is this something that you care that much about that you're willing to keep fighting for it? Because I think that you are. And I see with the Five of Wands, this card talks about conflict, and for you, I feel like I'm seeing this conflict happening just within your own brain. Like, it's all these different voices fighting each other. One side is like, I really want to accomplish this. I want to keep doing this. This is what I love. And the other side is like, well, what if it fails? What if people belittle you? What if people judge you? What if you can't make money? What if this doesn't work out? And it's like, it's just this constant noise in your head. And what you need more than anything is to not give up on this, because I see that there is success waiting for you. This is what you're meant to do. You are on the right path. But what you need to learn how to do is calm the sound in your mind. Calm those voices that are so afraid of failing. You need to basically tell those voices in your head that, I know why you're afraid of me failing. You just want to protect me, but I am not afraid of failure. I am willing to take on the risk of the possibility of failure so that I can take on the possibility of success. And really look at the future of like, what would your life look like if you were successful? If you did accomplish this thing, if it did work out? Cling to that instead of clinging to the fears of what if, because both ways are what if. What if I fail? What if I'm successful? But if you're just constantly focusing on the negative of what if it doesn't work out, or what if it crashes and burns, no wonder you're constantly up in your head and terrified and having these blaring, flashing stop lights and like this conflict going on inside of you. How are you supposed to be inspired? How are you supposed to be able to move forward and want to keep going? How are you supposed to be creative and like excited and keep moving down this path if you're constantly focusing on the past, or, what's not going to work out, or all the ways that it's not, being finished right now? Obviously, you're not going to be able to move forward. The thing that will push you forward and help you create success and accomplish your goals is focusing on the bright side. And I know it sounds like tacky, or is that the word? Like overused, but literally focusing on the bright side is going to make you feel much more inspired to move forward, because at the end of the day, you're going to keep moving forward. Why focus on the bad? The bad is there. The possibility of failure is there. But the possibility of success is also there. So let yourself focus and daydream a little bit about what it could be like for you to be successful. Daydream about, how excited you'd be to wake up every day knowing that this is what you get to do. And so what I see with, what do you need to hear? What reassurance you need? You have the Success card and the King of Wands. Like, point blank period, you are meant to be successful at this. Success is waiting for you. But it's still, a mile away, 2 miles. You still got to put one foot in front of the other. It's like if you've been in this marathon. Actually, yesterday I was hiking, and it was kind of a brutal hike because I'm really out of shape, but I kept thinking about this guy, David Goggins. He was a Navy SEAL, and he is famous for doing this 135-mile marathon, and he did it in 30 hours through blistering, record heat, 100+ degree heat. I think he threw up multiple times, and I was just thinking, if you were in that position, doing that marathon, and the entire time all you can think of is the heat, or how your foot hurts, or your blisters, or how many more miles there are to go, you're not going to be able to do it. But if you think of, okay, if I could get the world record, imagining yourself crossing the finish line, imagining, how good that water break is going to be at the end of the line, getting that medal around your neck. If you focused on that, it's going to push you a lot more. But if all you're thinking about is oh, that person next to me just passed me by, or oh god, it's so hot, or my toe is cramping, you're not gonna make it as far. Either way, it's up to you if you're gonna keep running, if you're gonna keep pushing towards that finish line. But I want you to know, success is possible. But the biggest thing that's gonna help you right now and help you to keep moving forward and actually getting there faster is being able to focus on the bright side. And like I said, I know it sounds simple, but sometimes it's the simplest things that we often forget. And with the King of Wands is the king of being in tune with his passion, in tune with his creativity and his inspiration. And like I said, when you can get just focusing in on what makes you feel inspired about what you're doing, you're gonna want to push forward, you're gonna want to work harder, you're gonna want to do more. So instead of focusing on the negatives and what you hate about this marathon, remember why you love running. Like, okay, maybe you don't love running, but in that example, that guy, I'm sure he loves running. He loves being fit. Don't think about how shitty the marathon is. Focus on what you love about it. Focus on what makes you feel inspired to keep going. What do you love about this work that you're doing? What makes you want to be creative and inspired? And then really lean into that feeling and allow yourself to feel this flow state as you do the work that you're meant to be doing. And finally, you have this card number 37, Get Out of Your Head, which is literally what I've been saying this entire time, so let's read it for you. Get out of your head, number 37, chicken head. When you cut off a chicken's head, a burst of electricity runs through its body's nervous system, causing the chicken to run in circles and flap its wings. This is symbolic of the intrusive and obsessive thoughts we think and allow to run circles around us, even though they rarely hold any real basis in truth. Chicken head's medicine appears when it's time to put an end to the chicken in your head, dictating your life. That's exactly what I've been saying. Witness the thought and understand you have power over it. Your power is to know it's just a thought, and if it minimizes you, it's not true no matter how real it may feel. If it makes you feel less than and powerless, then there is no way it's true, because you are quite literally a scientific miracle connected to the infinite, ever-expanding universe. Chickenhead's medicine asks you to take a big sigh of relief, because whatever is currently keeping you in your head will work itself out. You are safe, and you will find the solution, and the issue will resolve itself. Whatever you are currently dealing with is for your greater good, no matter how much the chicken tells you it's not. In fact, Chickenhead's medicine brings an exciting confirmation. If you are dealing with a current situation that feels disappointing and has you obsessively thinking about it, you are being asked to understand that this difficulty has had to happen to lead you to whatever you truly want. For whatever reason, there is a lesson being learned, and in learning this lesson, you will lead yourself to what your heart desires. Chickenhead's medicine demands you get out of your head now, because everything is gonna work out. I love this deck. This is the Animal Apothecary Oracle deck. I encourage you, even if you don't read tarot, you don't need to know how to read the cards to get this deck, because when I use it, I'm not looking at the card and using my intuition. I just allow spirit to help a card fall out of the deck like I do when I'm shuffling any cards, and then I read straight from the guidebook. And this book, I swear to God, I don't need all these other cards. I could have just read you that passage and that would have summed up everything that I basically said this entire reading. But I highly encourage everybody, please get yourself this deck. Even if you don't know how to read cards, even if you've never done divination a day in your life, you don't need to know. This book has so much knowledge and has helped me in so many different ways. I love it. So pile 1, that is everything that I have for you. I really, really hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope you found it when you needed it the most. I hope this brought you some clarity, because it seems like you really do have a chicken in your head, dictating your life right now. And you need to remember, your ego is kind of like a chicken. It's not very smart. It's just primal base animal instinct trying to help you, trying to keep you protected. And you just need to grab that chicken by the neck and say, shut up. Let me have the reins. Let me control where we're going. So let me leave you with that beautiful imagery and piece of advice. So pile 1, that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. All right, pile 2. If you chose the blue lace agate, then this is the reading for you. Now, the way that we're going to do this is we're starting off by looking at, what is this fear that you are overthinking about? What are these fears that are plaguing you, or these anxieties that you can't seem to get over? And then we're going to be getting into what reassurance do you need? What message do you need to hear that is going to help ease these fears? And finally, we have a piece of advice from your spirit guides with this final card that I'm going to read from the guidebook for. And so, what I'm seeing is you have this disruption card and the Five of Pentacles. I feel like you're currently on a path working towards, it feels like a career goal. You're working really hard towards something. You've been putting in a lot of hours, a lot of time, and it seems like all these fears are just, I feel like, because I say a lot of them, I think that there are a lot of just, what if it happens this way, or what if it happens this way, or what if this happens, or what if this happens? There's so many that you haven't even really spent time to fixate on where exactly are these fears coming from, what are these fears? It's just this sense of dread and doom. And it's all circling around this idea of like things not working out. The disruption card is a lot like the Tower card in the tarot. And the Tower card is all about like a sudden upheaval, a sudden catastrophic change where everything is like thrown off course. And with the Five of Pentacles, there's this fear of being stuck out in the cold. Oh, there's a lizard on the tree. I've never seen a lizard on my tree. To give you context, this tree is like 20 feet off the ground because I'm on like the second story. I've never seen... Anyways, lizards might be important to you for some reason. But it was literally just staring at me out my window. Anyways, where was I? Yeah, there's this really big fear of, the Five of Pentacles. When I look at this, I see people who don't have any money. They're stuck out in the cold. They have nowhere to go. And it's like this fear of everything crashing around you and having no material stability. Not being able to make money. Not having the ability to take care of yourself. It's like that is your biggest fear, is this thing that I'm working towards. If it crashes and burns, I have nothing. I have no way to take care of myself. I will quite... Like, it's like you almost have this fear of, like, being homeless. Like, that's how big this fear is of possibly failing at what you're trying to do. And what I want to tell you is a lot of these fears that you have in your head are unwarranted. Like, it's just plaguing you and there's not really any basis, because I really want you to pause and look around you. I think that you're somebody that's very logical, that really likes to rationalize things. And if you don't take the time to sit and rationalize and look at like the realistic, like what's going on around me, that's when you get into this spiral mode. So I really want you to sit down, get rid of all distractions, and think clearly about, okay, where am I on this current career path? What are the possible ways that it could fail? Are these possible ways of failing realistic? If they're realistic, what can I do to make sure that it's not going to happen? Really plan out. I think if you took the time to make a concrete plan of how to avoid getting to this end state of failing, it would make you feel a lot calmer and realize, like, you have this reflection card, clarified by the Nine of Wands reversed. And the Nine of Wands reversed is like having all these fears around you that have no basis in reality, and like you need to clear them away. And the best way to clear them away is reflecting on, okay, which of these fears is realistic? Like, is it realistic that a lightning bolt is going to strike my car and then I can't go to work? No, it's not realistic. Okay, brush that one off. Is it realistic that I could get fired from my job? Maybe, but really think, like, do they need me in this current role? Is my current position overstaffed? Is it likely that I could get fired? If so, what are some possible avenues that I can keep my foot in the door? Are there other positions I could fill? Are there other jobs in the area that I could take on instead? Or, if you're studying, all you need to do is develop a better study plan. Like, there are concrete things that you can do to make yourself feel more confident in your abilities, and also feel more confident in the fact that you can achieve what you're trying to go after. A lot of these fears are just, like, I'm imagining little floating, like, ghosts around your head, like, just whispering things in your ears, and, like, you just need to, like, fan them away. I think because you haven't taken the time to really sit down and think clearly and realistically through these things that are bothering you, that's when you're starting to get all these little ghosts flying around your head speaking these nasty things in your ears. It's because you haven't taken the time to, like, brush them away and be like, clear your space, clear your head. So I'll also encourage you, and this isn't necessary, but I think will help you a lot, Clean up your space, get rid of clutter that you don't need, like maybe do a real deep clean and just throw out things that you're not using, things that don't serve a purpose anymore. Cleanse your room, cleanse your house, cleanse yourself, and then just sit down and really like try to declutter your brain. Really introspect, delve into your brain and ask, what has been bothering me? What has been freaking me out? How can I reason through this? Because, like I said, I think you're somebody that does very well when you are logical and when you think through things properly. And all these fears are illogical. This is what happens when you don't take the time to reason through things properly. You get all these illogical, random, like, things in your brain that are freaking you out. And that's what's happening here. Like, I don't think that you actually have anything to be worried about right now. So the final card that we have here is No Expectations, number 22, and this is the Black Panther. So Black Panthers and lizards might be something special to you. Number 22 the number 22 could also be important to you. So this one says, Black Panther represents walking into the dark and exploring the feminine power of allowing development to come from the unknown. Walking into the unknown with no expectations is the key that will open the door to your success. The no expectations medicine of this card strongly advises you not to limit yourself with ideas about how anything will unfold. Life is planning something more delicious than you can currently understand. Something profound is on the horizon for you. Trust life without needing to be the dictator of how and when your manifestation will blossom into fruition. Intense expectations will only inhibit the ability of what is more extraordinary to develop. Take the risk for what you desire without the desperate need to control how it will unfold. A situation you perceive as failure today may be what leads you to unfathomable success in 3 years. This is why an expectation of how you think things should work is futile. Understand that whatever occurs in your life is meant for your growth. Our misguided steps and our mistakes are our greatest teachers. Taking risks allows divine opportunities to present themselves. Take note if you are met with continuous resistance and rigid expectation. This is a universal sign that another direction is more beneficial. So take a step back and allow the path of least resistance to be revealed. This is not to say you should give up immediately, but it does warn that you may be unaligned with the flow. It may also be a signal that you just need to wait a bit longer. Black Panther is the queen of facing fears and taking risks to achieve her heart's desires. If you're questioning whether to go forward with an idea that feels totally uncertain, Black Panther's medicine asks you to go for it. Do not seek immediate gratification. Remember, the result may take time to unravel, but taking the risk to do what is best for you will always yield positive results. So, pile 2, that is basically everything that I have for you. I know that this was a very short reading, but I think it's just very straight and to the point. Like, you need to get these irrational fears out of your head, especially if it's like constantly having this feeling of impending doom over like any little thing can come and just unravel your life. Remember that you're stronger than that. Trust in your ability to persevere a little bit more than just like a little splinter turning into, oh God, my leg needs to be amputated. Like, I feel like you are so used to just doom spiraling. And the one thing that's really going to help you is, like I said, take some time to clean and clear your space. Don't put a lot of emphasis on trying to work through your issues right away. Like, okay, for example, this morning, I wanted to film this reading, but I got kind of lazy and I was like reading and I was on TikTok until 11. And I have a dentist appointment at 2, which means I need to do this entire video in like less than 2 hours. So immediately rolling out of bed, feeling kind of gross because like I said, I went on a long hike yesterday. I was feeling kind of weird this morning. I'm a little dehydrated. If I tried to jump into this reading immediately, it was probably going to crash and burn. But just the process of like going to the bathroom, brushing my teeth, brushing my hair, washing my face, putting on some lotion, immediately made me feel so much clearer. Like making my bed, clearing up the room a little bit. Then I got to work. Now I feel like I'm actually ready to take on this job of like doing this video, reading these cards, talking to you guys. So I encourage you to do the same. Like it's just little things like decluttering, cleaning ourselves up. Like personally, I think I actually have a video on my channel under a playlist called like spiritual stuff about ways that I cleanse myself and my space. I encourage you to check it out. But it really just ties back to, how do you clean yourself? How do you clean your space? Putting intention into that you're also clearing away negative energy. I do shit like that all the time when I'm just brushing my hair, detangling, getting the knots out. I imagine brushing away, the energy of the day. I'm clearing my hair, I'm clearing out the knots, detangling, and it just feels like that's just what you need. It's nothing crazy or over the top. It's just taking care of yourself, taking care of your space, then being able to sit down and really reason through these thoughts, allowing yourself that peace before you start actually working through things, instead of just throwing yourself into things. So I'll leave you with that. I really hope that this reading found you when you need it the most. I hope that it helped you out, Pile 2. And just remember, you're always welcome on this channel. If you have any other fears or whatever, like, the majority of readings that I do is like overthinking, or like, what do you need to boost your confidence, or are you on the right path? So if you're interested in that, I highly encourage you to check out the rest of my videos. But that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching. Bye-bye. Alright, Pile 3, last but certainly not least. If you chose the Tiger's Eye, then this is the reading for you. Now, I want to say off the rip, I think for the majority of you, the thing that you are trying to manifest the most is a romantic partner, or like the perfect relationship. But I also think that there are some of you that's not necessarily your main manifestation, but there is something that you are trying to create in the world. And the reason that I say that is because on this left side here, you have, what is this main fear that is plaguing you? And you have the consciousness card clarified by the Two of Cups reversed. Now, the Two of Cups is a card that, it has two people on it. A lot of the time, people call it the soulmate card, or like use it to talk about relationships. But when I see it, I also see, two people, and in the romantic context, what does two make? A baby. And, if you're thinking of like a spiritual context, like, the baby could really just be creation of like, what do you need to bring together in order to create what it is that you're trying to manifest. Now that, I feel like that's like for 20% of you, and the other 80% is like, I'm not here for the spiritual shit, I just want a damn relationship. I get that. So just keep in mind, like, when I talk about what you're trying to manifest or the relationship, fill it in with what it is that you're trying to manifest. So, like I said, you have consciousness and the Two of Cups reversed. This side is all about, what is this fear that you are overthinking about? And specifically, thinking part is a really big thing, because you have the consciousness card, which is contrasted by the intuition card on this side. I think that you are somebody who, your fears are very much controlled by your ego, and they originate from, when you're in your head too much, and they really have no basis in reality. I think that these fears that you're dealing with are brought up by like your insecurity, or like, for instance, you feel insecure about your looks, and your brain immediately latches onto that and is like, yes, exactly, this is why you won't be in a relationship, this is why nobody likes you. And in reality, it's just your brain conjuring up these fears. And I got into this a little bit in Pile 1, so if you feel drawn to Pile 1, I encourage you to check that out as well. But I talked specifically about how our ego is really there to protect us. It's a very stupid part of our brain, a very primal part of our brain. But at its base level, it's protecting us from getting hurt. It's protecting us from failure. It's protecting us from judgment. And the way that it does that is it pushes all of our fears to the forefront of our mind to stop us from taking action, because action could possibly lead to failure. And what is worse than failure is all the ego thinks about. It's trying to protect you. It's trying to save your confidence, save itself. And so that's why you have this consciousness card here. But on the other side, what you need to hear to get rid of these fears is to let go of the overthinking, let go of the ego, let go of the consciousness, let go of the stream of thoughts, and recognize that that is not messages from your highest self. That is messages from your ego. You need to be able to differentiate the difference between the voice that is yelling at you and making you feel shitty versus the intuitive part of yourself, the part that actually feels guided by spirit, the part that feels connected to the universe, connected to your path, connected to what you're actually meant to have. And so the main part of your reading is this contrast between learning to recognize what is actually an intuitive message about your path, or about this manifestation that you want, versus what is just useless fears being brought up by your ego that you don't really need to be listening to. Because on this side about how to let go of these fears, You have intuition clarified by temperance reversed and the emperor reversed. Your intuition is what is going to best guide you to bringing this thing into reality, whatever it is that you want, whether it's, manifesting the perfect relationship or creating something in this reality that you've been wanting to create. Your intuition will be that guide, but the biggest things that stop your intuition from guiding you is when you let the ego take over. And the ego manifests in impatience and trying to control everything. You need to remember, your intuition is kind of the compass that's guiding you on the right path, but you can only pay attention to it if you let go of the ego trying to control everything. The ego doesn't know the future. It doesn't know what's actually going to happen, but it tries to predict it. It tries its hardest to try to dictate which way you should go based on what it thinks is right. But your ego doesn't know what's truly right. It's just like a chicken running around with its head cut off. And so the enemies of your intuition, the things that are going to stop you, is when you're trying to control the future, when you're trying to control what the outcome looks like. And I have an example that I feel drawn to bring up. I bring this up a few times before, but imagine that this thing that you're trying to manifest is like you want to own a shop because you want to sell pottery. You love to make pottery and you want to own a shop. And you're looking at this perfect shop and you're like, this is the exact location that I want it to be in. This is like the place to be. This is the outlet mall that everybody wants to go to. And you have your heart set on that specific outcome. And then somebody else takes over the lease. You don't get that area to open your shop and you feel crestfallen. You think, wow, now I can never open my shop because if it's not there, then it's never going to be successful. And then 2 weeks later, it turns out that that entire outlet mall burned down. So actually, in reality, it saved you a lot of time and money, but your ego was so drawn to, this is what the outcome needs to be, and if I don't get this outcome, then it's all going to fail. But in reality, if you let go of impatience, you let go of trying to control the outcome and recognize, you know what, if it's not meant to be there, it'll be over somewhere else. And just letting go, letting your intuition guide you, letting your spirit guides guide you, that is going to bring you to realize, oh, that place burned down. Thank God I didn't go with that one. But this other space just opened up. It's way cheaper. And this is actually the new, most popular area of town where everybody's starting to hang out. And then you get the lease there. And now you can rent out that building. So try to let go of what you think the outcome needs to look like and when it needs to happen, because that is going to be the biggest enemy of helping you accomplish what you want. Trying to control things when we as humans cannot predict the future. Even me as a tarot reader, what I'm doing here is not predicting the future. I'm taking, what is the most likely outcome given current circumstances, predicting that, what's most likely, but what's really going to happen, that's up to the universe, that's up to God, or, whatever. It's not up to us. And so when we try to control things, and when we think we know better than what the universe knows for us, that's when you get wrenches thrown into the plan. That's when things start to get messed up. And with the Temperance Reverse card, I think also one of your biggest enemies is going to be impatience. Feeling like it needs to happen on a specific timetable. This thing that you want is not meant to come on the day that you want it to come. It will come when it is meant to come. Really have a respect and an understanding of divine timing will happen when it is the best possible time, and you do not know when that best possible time is. It is maddening. We as humans want to control things. We want to understand when it's going to happen and what's it's going to look like. Because when we don't know that, our brain fills in the blanks with all these fears and of ways that it could not work out. But like I said, you need to learn to let go of control. Allow yourself to understand, it's going to happen when it's going to happen. What will happen, will happen. And when you can do that, you're going to be in flow with things a lot better. So, feel like I've been rambling for a while. Let me check the time real fast, because I do need to leave soon. Oops, somebody called me. Whoops. Anyways, I'll ignore that. So, let's see. The final card that we have for you here is number 42, Transformation. And this is the Phoenix. So the number 42 or the Phoenix could be important signs for you. I think that's all that was on the card, yeah. So number 42. Phoenix is an ancient bird that will burn himself every few hundred years to be born anew. He diligently builds his nest with cinnamon and frankincense. Then, with one clap of his wings, he ignites his nest into a blazing fire. He endures a night filled with roaring flames and insurmountable pain. When the sun begins to rise, he too emerges from the ashes, more brilliant and mesmerizing than the human mind can fathom. Phoenix comes with informative medicine. He says you also are on the verge of a total transformation. Although you may still be living a current reality that your past self manifested, the medicine of this card foretells a profound change is approaching. You are in the space in between jumping timelines. This timeline is your transition from an old version of yourself into the new, an evolved version of yourself. Do not get caught in the trap of believing your current reality defines what lies ahead. That is important. That's what I was trying to say, like thinking that you can predict the future. Do not get caught in the trap of believing your current reality defines what lies ahead, because you don't know what lies ahead. It is very possible you are projecting old, limiting beliefs onto the situation. That's what I'm trying to say. Not only do you not know what lies ahead, but you're projecting your own limiting beliefs on what the future could look like. The future is way grander than you even realize. Trust that all your effort over the last months and years are in the alchemical process of manifesting. You are now in the moment before you shift into your fullest self. You must believe the highest version of yourself is waiting and ready to be self-actualized. So, pile 3, that is everything that I have for you. Now, like I said, I really actually do have to run. I have a dentist appointment soon, so wish me luck, because I hate the dentist. But I really hope that this reading found you when you need it the most. I really hope that you enjoyed it. I hope it brought you clarity on your situation, and I hope that you walk away from listening to this like a little lighter, because that's what I'm really trying to do here, is just ease those fears, get you out of your head and back into the flow, and just following the path that Spirit has laid out for you. So I wish you the best. I know that you can accomplish whatever that you set out to accomplish, and that is everything that I have for you. Thank you so much for watching.